The church is growing fastest and growing strongest in the most difficult places on the face of the earth. But it is struggling in the places where there is great comfort. I'll let you do the math. Maybe one of the reasons is we just get a little bit complicated with our faith. Maybe another reason is we get a little bit too comfortable with our faith. Maybe we need to just simplify things a bit in the Church of Jesus Christ. It's obvious what I'm going to speak about because I can't speak about anything else. It's about harvest. It's about being the church and being the witness that we should be in our world today because Jesus is coming soon. I want to tell you today that we must not limit or restrict the Lord in how he can move and how he can work and what he will do to reach the unreachable. We need to know what it is like to lead people to grace and to lead people to faith and lead people to the Lord Jesus Christ and bring salvation and bring the message of salvation to those people. There's nothing terribly difficult in the Bible. By all means, there's Bible study, there's Bible teaching, and that goes into depth, and there's profound things we can teach about that, and that's wonderful. But let's not get too lofty and get too tall and too complicated so that we actually miss what we're supposed to be communicating. And that is the grace of God. That when we go from the Sunday and we go from the house of God, we enter into that world out there and we take Jesus' light and Jesus' truth and Jesus' power and Jesus' his gospel of good news out there and speak it out simply in simple language. God will do the rest. Why? Because it's his word. It's his message. And the most powerful thing that you and I have ever received and ever will receive is the message of the good news of Jesus Christ. God will do right. God is a God of justice, not just judgment. He's a God of justice. He's a God of mercy. He's a God of faithfulness, and he will do right. We can go with a message of hope. Brother, sister, leader, never lose your compassion. You see, if you keep your compassion, you'll keep your passion. Two things go hand in hand. Jesus had compassion, and then he says this was because they were weary and scattered like sheep without a shepherd. And he said to his disciples, the harvest truly is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Pray therefore that the Lord of the harvest will send out laborers into his harvest. Wow. It's the word, the term ekbalo, E-K-B-A-L-O, and it means to cast. Jesus says, pray that the Lord of the harvest will cast people into the harvest field. Hello? To cast them. Think about Jonah being thrown out of the boat, thrown into the harvest field. Whether you wanted to go or not, you got thrown because you prayed that prayer, Lord, I will go wherever you want me to go. I'll do whatever you want me to do. 5 years later, when you forgot the prayer, the Lord gets hold of you and he goes, there you go. And you feel like, whoa, I don't want to be here, Lord. I feel so uncomfortable. This is too hard for me. God says, right now you're going to see how I go beyond your capability and your strength and your ability, and you will see in your weakness, you will see my strength come through in those moments. Yeah, in those moments you will see my strength. We hardly ever see God's strength in our strengths. We see God's strength through our weakness. So Jesus says, pray that the Lord of the harvest will throw people into the harvest to reap and to labor. In these days that are growing shorter and shorter, to not be the lights and the witnesses shining brightly into the dark places that God has commissioned us to be. We cannot afford not to do that any longer. We cannot afford to just be Christians on a Sunday. If you're alive today, God has not just called you to sit in a chair and listen to a sermon and sing a few songs on a Sunday. That is part of our expression of faith, and it should be done, but it is a small part of what God has called us into, and God has called us to do, and God has called us to be. We are to be his witnesses for the rest of our lives. Every single Christian is a sent person. Every single Christian is seen, it should be seen right now as a seed. And the seed is planted, and the seed becomes a sapling, and the sapling becomes a tree. And then we shouldn't stop there. We should say that the tree becomes a forest, and the forest creates other seeds. Life is there. We've got to do life. Life throws stuff at us. Sometimes you're not expecting things and they get thrown at you. You have no choice in that. That's just life. But how we react and how we respond to that is really where it's at. There's a massive harvest out there. I want you to pray with me right now. God will show us again how to reap the harvest.
Is to live within your love, be undone.